Mr. Jibril Abdullah to share his experience or what he knows about this topic that we are discussing, for us to have more knowledge and to enlighten us more about this, for us to have a way forward and what next to go to the next thing to do.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Teslim. Thank you very much for the opportunity. However, you have a lot of my ogas here and you are calling me. You want to get me in trouble, Abi? So,
Yes, sir. We got like that,
you have Dr. Habib online and Balakau. So they are my ogas. I think. Well, with their permission, I would proceed. I don't want to jump the gun, especially Dr. Habib. He's my mentor in the area of accident prevention. So, sir, good morning, sir. Okay, I think he's not available. So,
Well,
okay.
good morning, Engineer Jibril.
Good morning, sir.
And good morning, all.
Yes, sir.
Hello, Engineer Jibril. Good morning, all. And I'm glad to be part of this meeting. Please, you can proceed. We'll be listening
Yes,
to you.
good morning, sir. Sir, we can hear you.
Okay, good morning, all. It's a privilege to be here among this subgroup, and we look forward to listening to Engineer Jibril. If there is any need for me to chip in one or two things, I will quickly do that as the discussion continues.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yes, sir. Okay, so once again, good morning, everyone. Well, particularly why I was interested in joining this is because currently I'm doing my PhD, and one of the aspects I'm working on is the road anomaly detection. And we are in FUT MENA, we are also working on accident prevention system. It's a project funded by TED Fund, and that's also a component of what we are doing, the road anomaly detection. So I think one of the first things that we might need to outline in terms of accident prevention is what are you are preventing the accident, but in what context? There are many causes of road traffic accidents. Some of them are due to intoxication, drowsiness, but as Teslim mentioned earlier, he mentioned, I think you mentioned potholes, if I'm not mistaken, if I heard you correctly. So it's also an area, identification of those anomalies and avoiding them is also an area of accident prevention. He said I should share experience, so I would share experience in my own case and what I've been working on for the past few weeks and months. I'm working on a road anomaly detection for the accident prevention. And what we are using in our own case is we are trying to use deep learning to identify road anomalies. And we are mainly focusing on potholes and unmarked speed bumps because if you are driving, especially in our setting here in Nigeria, these are situations that are quite common. You always run into potholes, and our people erect speed bumps even without approval. So what we've been working on is identifying these anomalies and also trying to find a way to navigate around these anomalies. So in our own instance here for the literature review, I think for accident prevention and of course prediction, we first have to consider identifying the perception either with cameras or sensors. And I think a part of our literature review should focus in that area. We should focus at the identification and perception methods before we go into prediction and prevention. So thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. We really appreciate the knowledge shared. I would like our father and one of our lecturers here, Dr. Muhammad Kau, to also share his experience for us.
Uh, Hello. I think first the name is Abdullah Kao, and although my experience is not along Jibril's, but it's all literature review, right? And like Jibril mentioned, when you are really doing a literature review, you need to know exactly what your scopes are, like what do you intend to achieve? What's the key research objective? Which I know they will talk about later. So I wouldn't want to distract us. I'm here also to learn. So I will just let us. Yeah, I've had experience of doing a literature review, which is quite interesting. It's very foundational to advancing research in advancing state of art. So and there's always something to learn from others. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. Uh, I would like Dr. Habib to also share his thoughts with us to learn more about this topic, sir.
Okay, thank you. Good morning, all. My name is Abib. I'm also currently from ABU Zaria. In terms of accident prevention, just like Engineer Jibril rightly mentioned, it depends on the context in which we are actually looking at it. In my own case, I worked on a similar project to Engineer Jibril, on which I am still working, and I still have some students working in that area. In terms of literature review, I usually tell my students there is that it's like trying to give you a glimpse of most of what other people have done in that domain, while identifying the research gap and other things that other researchers can consider in future. In my own experience, I think we've wrote one or two papers on a literature review or a survey paper. One of them we focus more on using a sensor to actually detect road anomalies, because what we are interested in is we are trying to see how does this road anomalies induce road traffic accident. While we consider anomaly like potholes, bumps, routines, and the likes. And in one of those survey paper, we focus on different types of sensors in which people use to sense that and how we can process such information from it. I think we narrowed down to accelerometer. There are other sensors and there are other approaches. Recently, we are also looking at the area of deep learning, just like Engineer Jibril also mentioned. But the aspect we are now considering is towards the data sensing or the data gathering, because one of the major challenge we have in Nigeria is having access to those data, the information that can be used to deploy any proposed algorithm. So in terms of review, there are so many aspects of it which we can explore, but we first need to narrow down on what exactly are we trying to look at in terms of accident prevention. Is it the drowsiness? Is it the road induced or any other form of any other form of anomaly, something that deviates from normal that may lead to road accident? So as soon as we narrow down, we can now start thinking of, okay, what should the structure look like? Are we doing a comprehensive review, or are we just doing a decade survey? What I mean by a decade survey is what has happened in the last 10 years to say, okay, these are the trends, this is what we're looking at, and these are other things you can actually explore. So I think these are some of the little things I've known about it, but I'll also be looking forward to learn from everyone present here. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. I really appreciate, and we are really glad to have veterans among us. I will be handing over to Mr. Teslin to proceed.
Okay. From what people have been saying since, I would like us to, because the last presenter just mentioned that we should try and narrow down what we're actually dealing with, the type of accident prevention we are looking into. Based on if we look at the topic of this project, is actually focused on the prevention of the to um, get in contact with any obstacle or potholes or any form of action of accident. So the system, based on my experience now and what I'm thinking, is that we should focus more on how we can control the movement of the cars if it's going to if it's going to have any contact with any obstacle or even potholes that can affect or cause the accident. So in that, well, if we are talking about the sensors now, it means we must look to the for sensors that will give us that will report immediately, not the no delaying, no any failures. So I think we need to look into that. That's one I would like us to discuss in this call. And also, if based on people's experience in this call, we can also share more on what's your experience about on the prevention as well. So that's what I want us to add to our discussion for today. Thank you. Like what types of the sensor that we really need to go into, what are the things that we need to put in place, everything in one. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Teslim. Really appreciate your time. I would like us to make a very narrow way so that we can move faster. I'll be happy and I'll be glad if Dr. Jibril and Dr. Abdullahi Kahu and Dr. Abib can be our guide through this project. I can see Dr. Jibril talked about deep learning, and as a AI student, which I have an intermediate experience about machine learning, I think the deep learning is going to be a favor and is going to do us a very great favor to achieve our aim. And Dr. Habib also talked about sensors, using sensors to detect anomalies on the road. I think that's going to help us too. So I would like and I will be glad if both of them can be a guide to us for this program. Sir, I would like to have a response if the two of you are taking this request from us, sir.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Is that Mr. Tesnim?
Abibullah.
Mr. Lawal Habibullah.
Okay, thank you. Okay, thank you, Mr. Habibullah. Well, from what I understood we want to do now from this prior discussion is that there is need for us to first, since we are narrowing down on sensor, there are some fundamental questions we should ask ourselves. Okay, when it comes to road anomaly detection, because it's only when you detect that you can actually prevent. Prevention can come in forms of mechanism like notifying the driver that there is a pothole at so distance, maybe like certain meters to actually get into the pothole spot. You can notify the driver to either slow down or probably he wants to run into it to make his own decision. And there are also what you call autonomous vehicle now, whereby once such detection is made, it tries to actually trigger the brake anti-lock or something like that. But basically, if you are trying to, there are different approaches to these road anomaly detections. When we want to narrow down to this sensors approach, we now need to start asking ourselves what type of sensor will be suitable for this detection. One popular one is the use of accelerometer. Some people use gyroscope. There's some use different combinations of these sensors. Now, this accelerometer, at times they could be standalone. At times we could use one. We could actually harness the strength of our mobile phone, because most smartphones come with an accelerometer embedded on it. So we will now ask ourselves, how do we configure, how do you program this accelerometer embedded on phone if you are narrowing down on phone? And if you are building a standalone device, how do you want to go about the development? That is one aspect of the sensor. Now, the second aspect we now keep asking ourselves that because accelerometer itself is just nothing but a transducer that converts mechanical energy into electrical signals. So oftentimes it will be in forms of continuous wave or continuous signal. What approaches are people being used to digitize those signals, and what approaches have they been able to actually deploy or explore for the detections of those signals? Because you have a continuous fluctuation. How do we narrow down that, okay, this is just the engine sound, this is an anomaly? If this is an anomaly, what type of anomaly? Is it a pothole? Is it a burn from those fluctuations? So many work have been proposed in the past. We need to now start asking ourselves, maybe we have different sections in the write-up. The first section, we talk about different sensors. Maybe what I would suggest is that we narrow down to just maybe the last 10 years or maybe the last 20. We can just narrow down to the last 10 years for now. Then after we can expand. So that when you are narrowing down to the last 10 years or last 15 years, you can have an idea of how these things have evolved over time and what people are currently looking at. So when we talk about sensors, if you pick an accelerometer as an example, you have to understand how this accelerometer how they operate, how are they being programmed, and how are they being to actually place those devices to sense this presence of this anomaly. And mind you, when you are trying to use this sensor, it is believed that oftentimes there is just drawback of using sensors approach as compared to other approach like image processing. Because image processing has the advantage of being able to anticipate the anomaly. You must have detected it ahead, notify your driver to make decision. But once you are using this sensor approach, your sensing, whatever you are sensing, is useful for other vehicles. That is why it is usually used in maybe when you have maybe a vehicle has encountered it, has reported it to a database. Maybe in there's what we call VANET system, vehicle to roadside infrastructure. So that another vehicle, once I'm coming, before I approach the anomaly, maybe my system would have been able to communicate with the roadside unit and be informed prior that there is an anomaly as also distance slow down. But the first vehicle that we encounter, we first sense the anomaly, must encounter the anomaly itself. Is a drawback of the sensor approach. So we now ask ourselves, what will be the optimal positioning of that device inside the vehicle to detect the anomaly? Should it be on the dashboard? Should it be in front of the engine? Should it be at the middle of the car? And so on. So we can have a section that can discuss that in the survey. We have a section for the sensor, have a section for optimal placement of the device. Then we can also have another sections to we can also have another section to analyze different way on which people have been used, or different way of which researchers have been used to have been exploring to power the device itself. Then we can also have another sections that we talk about what are the mechanisms or techniques that have been proposed to actually narrow down that there is an anomaly from the sense data. Things like ARIMA, things like wavelength transform, different types of wavelength, maybe discrete wavelength transform, cosine wavelength transforms, and the likes can also be discussed as how people have been used to detect this anomaly. Then the last one we can also look at is that this sensed information, after being processed, how are they being stored in a database so that other people can also use? We can also have a section that will explore what are the different available databases you currently have. Do you have any database showing maybe the presence of road anomalies in Nigeria? We know they are everywhere, but do you have a standard database that actually contains that data set? If yes, what is the form in which the data sets take, or how are they being saved on that database? is the database made public or is just for private consumption? We can have another sessions that we discuss that. Then finally, we will be able to identify what will be the future direction from all this discussion, depending on what people have done, the result they've explained, the result they've actually submitted that they obtained, and what we feel is the drawback. Then we can now also propose, okay, if probably these so things can be done, we believe it's going to improve the performance of the existing system. So these are some of, if you are going towards the sense-up approach, these are some of the few things I want us to be thinking about. Maybe Dr. Abdullahi and Engineer Jibril can also add one or two things. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. Really appreciate your time and the knowledge shared with us. Before the end of this meeting, I would like us to drop our contact so that a group can be created so that we can be able to communicate with each other efficiently. And I will say over to Mr. Teslim to proceed.
Sorry, sir. Apology for coming in. I have a feeling that maybe I'm getting something wrong. This is supposed to be literature review on a particular topic. My expectation, I may be wrong, is that I will probably expect our lead scholars to tell us as students of knowledge what are these, for example, the search word we should be looking for in this topic. You cannot do a good literature review without having a robust search word. What are the search engine that you think would be useful for this kind of topic? And so I think that's, for me, that, in my opinion, I may be wrong, and I'm here to learn. I think should be a starting point for a good literature review on any topic. So I don't know if any of our teachers have something to comment on that. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. Really appreciate the observation. Actually, this meeting is just for us to understand the project topic to the in-depth level, for us to know what exactly we want to work on and where we are going to. The literature review part and the tasks that will be shared on the literature review will be done by Prof and some other lecturers. But for now, we are only here to understand, to get the basic knowledge of this topic, to know where we are going. As Mr. Jibril said in his presentation, that if we are doing a literature review, we have to understand the topic and know what we are doing before we proceed. Thank you very much, sir. Yes, sir. I think I have answered or I have responded to your observation, sir.
Thank you very much, sir. I appreciate it.
Let's we have to drop our contact to create a WhatsApp group so that we have a mutual communication. So over Dr. Abisa.
Okay, sorry, Mr. Abibula, let me just chip in one or two things. I think I understand where the concern is coming. Maybe let me quickly give a little background so that even if we know nothing about accident prevention or weight prevention, we could be able to follow just in a quick one. The whole essence of this accident prevention, as I understood to where we are narrowing down, is that we are trying as much as possible to see a way in which we can actually equip our vehicle with the capability of detecting that, oh, there is an anomaly, and if you run into this anomaly, it may lead to road traffic accident. So, hey, driver, slow down so that you don't run into road traffic accident. But the question remains, how do we actually make our vehicle to be that intelligent or to be able to detect such anomaly and inform us appropriately? Yes, we know what people do is that they report to the government say, oh, go and maintain that portal, go and do this for where things are working. In the case of Nigeria, we keep seeing these anomalies. Some are even death traps. So now, in equipping these vehicles, different researchers have been exploring this. I also explored this same research area as far back as 2014 while I was doing my PhD under Professor Ibino. So you can see that then when we even started area in Nigeria, it was people were, is it feasible? Is it possible? Even me as a student then, I never believe it's possible. But Prof told me it's doable, it's possible. I had a series of argument that this is a local problem. He said, yeah, if it's a local problem, turn it to a global problem. And today, yeah, we've turned it to a global problem. So basically what we're interested in, okay, how do we equip our vehicles to be able to actually sense that, okay, there is an anomaly in order to minimize the rate of road traffic induced accident. That is what we are doing. Then you'll be hearing times like VANET, you're asking of keywords, you'll be hearing times like VANET, anomalies, potholes, and so on. VANET is nothing but just vehicle to vehicle. It's just a vehicular communication. How do you make vehicle A to communicate with vehicle B? If I detect that there is an anomaly, I want to send it to a vehicle behind me. That is what VANET is all about. And you hear things like vehicle to vehicle communication, vehicle to infrastructural communication. These are just technical terms that maybe later on, as we delve more into it, I'll keep explaining some of these. But basically, what we are interested in now, what we should be actually wrapping our mind about is how do we equip vehicles with the capability of sensing these anomalies? Is it pothole? Is it bombs? But I know some of you will wonder, how is bomb a road anomaly? I think Engineer Jibrin explained that earlier, that bomb, when it's on sign, is an anomaly. We have other forms of anomaly like routing. We have other forms like quacks and so on. So this is what I want us to be thinking about, sir. So I don't know if that actually gives you more insight on what we are trying to do.
Thank you very much, sir. Well, except to say that in some part of the world, one of the ways to report anomaly, not only road anomaly, is the use of your mobile. Where people use mobile for navigation. What happens is that because some of those anomalies are temporary, there could be a car breakdown on the road, for example, a truck could break down on the road. It was not there before. How do we catch it? So the idea is that if you drive past that place and it will tell you, oh, there is a road breakdown here, or there is a vehicle breakdown on the road, you will click on it. It will alert everybody that is using that system. And each time you go through that place, it will still keep asking you that, is that still there? If you have been moved away, then you also it's no longer there, and it automatically update itself so that people are aware. And for example, in Nigeria, I know that you can pass through a road in Nigeria, but before you are coming back in the night, there could have been a bump, or there could be a pothole before you know it. So there is that constant update of the system. I may not know the technical word that are used, but I'm sure that it's a thing we do here. If people are traveling and you are using Google Drive, it gets you alert to tell you, okay, there is, even sometimes it informs you that there is police on the road. There are police on the road that are, or what they call the road safety in Nigeria. People, if you ask you road safety association, you can tell other attackers that road safety is on the road at a point. And whoever is passing that place, it keeps updating. And of course, what they do in Nigeria is they will be waving themselves. I don't know. But that can also be automated and put as part of the road anomaly. Road breakdown, vehicle breakdowns can also be added, and so on and so forth. That, I don't know if that also adds to it. Thank you.
If I may just add one or two things, sir. What you have just said, the technical name for it is called citizen sensing approach. Citizen sensing. That is, as you use the road, you continuously update the database, and then the vehicle itself can update the database by itself. Thanks a lot. So I just want to inform us that we can drop our WhatsApp number, form a WhatsApp group for further discussion on this and to share other material. So you can put it, you can drop your number if you want to join the group on this platform in the in-call messages. Thank you.
Thank you very much, our doctors and we students. We are going to put an end to this call now, and we further our discussion on WhatsApp. Thank you very much.
I just sent the the WhatsApp group link now. We can use that to also join the WhatsApp group, so to make it easier.
Okay, yes, on behalf of the organizer of this event and everybody, I want to say a big thank you for joining this event and for contributing our different ideas and then putting it together. So let us meet again within the next 22 hours to continue the whole lecture and activities. We are grateful for your time, and the link is now on the in-call messages. Just click or you drop your number. Thank you all. Bye for now.
Thank you, Prof, for putting this together, sir.
Yes, sir. Thanks a lot, sir.